Alright, this is something I should have done a long time ago, since customs became legal and whatnot. Uh, I want to talk about the variations I use for Liu Kang and why I use them. My main variation is something completely different than, well, a lot of Liu Kang mains out there, but let's get this over with. So I'm going to start off with, I've got 5, I think is the number. Yeah, 5 variations here, and I pretty much just use one of them. Just one. Although I have 2 main variations here, and I'll just go over the casual ones to the main ones. First of all, there's this Leroy Smith variation. Technically, there's no why this is called Leroy Smith. It has low fireball, dragon's fire. Obviously, those 2 have to always be there because Liu Kang's buttons are trash neutral. So, except you're directly in the opponent's face, but when you're not, you're gonna need low fireball because you just get outspaced every single time. And then the fire flame buff, because why not? And then parry, because there's no real reason for parry. I don't know. It's just cool to be there, I guess. It's not that great. It has a lot of recovery if you don't use it right. So, I mean, it's not bad. It's just not great. So this whole variation is centered around the parry. If you're fighting a character that doesn't have or use their lows, you can probably use this variation and catch them off guard a couple times. But yeah, that's one. 2 is hashtag buff Liu. Ignore the variation name. I was just messing around. Even though you actually need to buff. Anyways, this is the one a lot of Liu Kang players use. I've seen Rewind, Wise Gemini, Ninja Killer. This is the variation all of them use. The low fireball, buff, and command grab. Now, I don't exactly use the command grab at all because I play Koto, right? I'm used to a certain standard of living of command grab, right? Koto's command grab is a mid, if you didn't get that. It's a high. It doesn't tick off of a lot of stuff, just back 1, down 1, and down 3, which, to be honest, is not that useful for me. So I just don't use it at all. This is the stance. This is a. I have to try and fit in this, what's it called, nunchaku stance somewhere, because that shit trash, man. Dragon's Breath, when it came out, was kind of good until people found out how to evade both the overhead and low from every block stream, which that didn't make any sense, and NRS never fixed it. So just for the sake of it, I try to fit it in somewhere. That's why I have this with low fireball, stance, and command grab, because the command grab works really well with the mix-ups in the overhead or low from the stance, since it's accessible from the stance. Not that great also, but what are you gonna do? Here is one I actually use quite not so much. Obviously low fireball, flame buff, and the dragon parry, that parry. Apart from Liu Kang being able to punish projectiles after ducking them from either close mid-range to almost far, or far to mid, depending on who you're playing against. Projectile parry actually comes in handy against some characters like Noob. What's her name? Devora. You know, characters with slower projectile startups. Even Sonya actually, it's not that slow, but the send back projectiles when you have the flame buff on actually comes in handy, and if he does hit, you get a huge chunk of damage. So win-win. Although the timing might be a little annoying sometimes, and you should never try to parry up close, because why the hell are you doing that? Now my main variation, right? This, if I'm playing with 100% my, you know, whole head and everything, this is what I use, because I'm gonna be honest, this variation doesn't really have any weakness. First of all, Liu Kang is a already great base character, right? And then you have the low fireball for the zoning or counter zoning, flame buff to increase the damage on every single thing it does, and then there's the teleport that has a mix-up, right? Overhead, low, and safe highs. So whoever thought of that in NRS is clearly on drugs. He has it, and like you could it's already difficult to zone him because of the low fireball, right? The low fireball does good damage. It's low, so like you have to block it almost every time, and he has a flame buff that buffs the fireball attack. So if you trade, he's either doing the same damage depending on the character or more damage, especially when he amplifies it, because I think he gets up to 15% on amplify, right? So and then you give him a teleport that's safe and has a mix. You know, let's just go. Let's just gonna see what this variation can do, right? I don't know. I don't really think the teleport needed to be a mix-up. I'll put a second Liu Kang with this. Okay. It's my favorite stage. I don't know. What's up? I should probably Google what grotto is. Never actually thought of that. Alright. Okay, so at the bat, his flame buff does, you know, let's start from low fireball. Why you need low fireball? Obviously, it's a low. It does 60 damage, sorry, that's 6%, and amplify does 12%, right? First of all, putting the low fireball with the flame buff gives him 72 damage for regular low fireball and 151 for amplified, right? So that's a lot of damage off of one projectile, even though you're using two projectiles, even though you're using meter for it. But if you trade with this mid-screen, or at any point actually, it's really good. So having both the buff and low fireball are or is very, very, very good. What else is low fireball for the longest time has been a corner combo starter, right? And this crap. Right, but it was only till recently a lot of Liu Kang players found out you could pretty much combo off of any of his strings in the corner. It's kind of difficult to get it, but crap. Like, I don't know what the hell's going Okay, well, clearly press the button there. Yeah, you can combo off of any hits in the corner into this and get a full combo, but that's the thing, it's just difficult to get, especially online. What the hell? On regular hits, it's what? 2 bars, 38%, right? But (46) 46%. Very, very, very unnecessary, but we take those. You could actually do this into bison kick special in crushing blow. Alright, so you can do that to bicycle kick also. I don't think I have crushing blows set right, yeah, I don't. The thing is, wherever combo you can do this in, you can also do fatal blow in, but let me show that real quick. If I can get it. This, right, whatever combo you can do that in, you can do it. Oh shit, I did it again. I almost did bicycle kick again. Goes into 50, 49? 49, okay. That's pretty much 50. So like, that's just for low fireball. Low fireball is hella useful. You can use it as a, mid-range check. People can jump over it every single time, but this can clip them from the air, the amplified version, because it hasn't, how would I call it? It goes high shot. Second hits really high, so you could hit their jumping sometimes, but other times they can jump over it. But it's still very good from like mid-range to check your opponent, and also bait jumps, right? Because if you've done this a couple times and they want to jump in or at some point and you read the jump, you just duck an anti-air or something. So let's go over. I feel like I should be doing this in an actual Liu Kang guide, which I probably would still do eventually. I don't know, just let me know if that's something you Liu Kang players might want to see in the comments. So flame buff, right? Let me see how much. Down to 140. Flame buff down to 168. It's not like MKX, like the flame buff he had in MKX. That one was just ridiculous, because that one changed his, was it 6% projectiles to 10%, or is that 7? I don't know what the default damage was, but it changed to 10%. Here, not so much, but it's a good buff nonetheless, because Liu Kang's combos are trash, right? If you don't get this or forward 2, you're not getting decent damage off of anything. 2 bars, 22%, whatever. What the hell is that? Forward 4, 23%, right? So this kind of helps in that aspect, right? 27%, not that bad.